Welcome, everyone. So happy that you're here. I am Fallon Jordan. I am Amen University's Brain Health Super Coach, and I support all of our coaches. And nutrition is such a huge piece of what we do when we're talking about the brain, and especially the gut-brain connection. So I am super excited to learn more from Cindy Santa Ana, who is our integrative nutritionist, and just learning more about how important nutrition is, especially when we're talking about sleep. And I'm sure you're going to get into it just as far as some people don't even realize that there's a connection between that.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Fallon. Yeah, so we're going to be talking all about sleep today and how important that is and how it affects our health in so many ways. So I'm just going to dive right in here and start screen sharing my PowerPoint presentation for you guys. All right, so right now it's estimated that about 70 million Americans are suffering from sleep deprivation. It might even be more than that, considering that this survey was done a couple of years ago. So whether it's short-term insomnia or acute insomnia, it can be caused by a number of things. So stress, obviously, an upsetting or traumatic event, changes to our sleep habits, like when we travel, sleeping in a hotel or a new home. Physical pain can interrupt our sleep, jet lag, certain medications, all of these can affect our sleep. And then when, and sometimes I say, sometimes we might stay up a little bit later or maybe we couldn't fall asleep, something we were watching. I'm talking about more of short-term insomnia. So something that would last a few days or weeks, or for some of our patients last years. So let's talk about short-term sleep deprivation first and what can cause that. And that can cause an increased stress response, which means you're more likely to react to stress. It can cause an increase in pain sensitivity, emotional distress, anxiety, irritability, also deficits in our cognition, our memory and performance, and reduced coordination as well. You also may see some metabolic changes, so increased levels of ghrelin, which is that hunger hormone. Levels can increase by 15% just after one night of poor sleep. So if you're ever hungry, the next day after a poor night of sleep, that's why. And it can also decrease the levels of leptin, which is our appetite control hormone. So we've kind of got two playing against us right there. So your body responds to and metabolizes sugar from the food that we eat, right? It can be extremely dysregulated from just one night of poor sleep. So this means you're more likely to eat more, crave unhealthy foods and carbohydrates and sugar and caffeine to give you that boost that next day, just after one or just even a few nights of missed sleep. The good news is that we can solve the insomnia so that it doesn't extend longer than a few days or a few weeks, or so it doesn't have long-term health impacts on your health. Okay, long-term effects of sleep loss. We're looking at an increase in risk of obesity, a 50% increase for obesity if you get less than 5 hours of sleep per night on a regular basis. So also increased risk for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure. Also, a reduced immune capacity means you could get sick more often, and an increased risk for dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and premature aging. So let's talk a little bit about that latter one, because that's really important. So the research has connected insomnia with a higher risk of Alzheimer's disease. So what that means is the glymphatic system is most active during our sleep. This is the system that gets rid of the toxins that accumulate in the brain during the day. So if you don't get adequate sleep every night, your brain can accumulate those toxins, specifically the amyloid plaques that are typically found in people with Alzheimer's disease. So when we sleep, our glymphatic system is 10 times more active. This is the system that consists of all those little glial cells that are responsible for sweeping away all the toxins that have accumulated through the day. In fact, our brain cells shrink about 50% during sleep to allow for these glial cells to work efficiently. So really important. Some research has reported that an increased incidence of Alzheimer's is connected to the rise of insomnia in Americans. This is character, and we know almost Alzheimer's disease is characterized by that increase in amyloid plaques in the brain. So one of the waste products that's cleared during sleep is beta amyloid. So Alzheimer's may just be a buildup of waste that hasn't been cleared over time. So really important to get our sleep under control if this is something that affects you. All right, so those tips, let's talk about these tips. All right, so nobody's perfect, by the way. So if you go out to dinner and you get home late one night and you've had a stressful day, your mind's racing, we've all been there. The point is that we want to try to do the best that we can every night on a consistent basis. Consistency is really key here. So number one, exercise regularly. The best movement for your body. So not everybody loves to cycle. Not everybody loves CrossFit or running. I hate running. I love cycling. I love riding my bike outside in nature and maybe doing some weight training. And that's what makes me feel strong. So do what is right for your body. So establishing a desired sleep schedule and by regulating your circadian rhythms is very important here. So you want to make sure that you're working out and that you are exercising your body in the morning would be best, open up those curtains, get that morning sunlight, move your body first thing in the morning. It actually helps regulate your circadian rhythms a little bit. Regular exercise also improves your mood and decreases stress, which we know is very important for overall mental health. However, do not work out late in the evening or close to your bedtime, because that can negatively impact your sleep quality as well by raising your body temperature, by raising your cortisol levels, and you want those to kind of go down at night. So experiment with what works best for your body and notice how exercise impacts your sleep and the quality of that sleep that night, maybe even keeping a sleep journal. Okay, let's talk about caffeine for a second. So, and I'm not just talking about coffee either. Caffeine is a stimulant and everybody metabolizes it differently. You can be a fast metabolizer or a slow metabolizer. For me, I'm slow. It just lingers in my body. It makes me jittery and ugh. So I actually can't tolerate caffeine whatsoever. Never had it, or I should say coffee. I take my caffeine in the form of dark chocolate. It's my favorite way. But I have to watch how much I eat and when I eat it, so not later in the day. So the recommended amount of caffeine per day is actually under 200 milligrams. So you're talking about, less than 3 cups of coffee a day. So, but you also have to consider caffeine comes in sodas and dark chocolate and teas, even some supplements, and even over-the-counter medications contain caffeine, like headache relievers. So if you're right, so if you're not sleeping well, and you don't drink coffee or tea, take a look at what you're having for dessert or how much chocolate you're consuming, because that could contain too much caffeine. And you can also what's called cycle your coffee. So there's about roughly 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine in a cup of coffee. So it takes about 72 hours for that to completely detoxify the caffeine from your system to reach that same level of buzz again the next day. So when you regulate your coffee intake, the receptors don't down-regulate, and that makes the caffeine more effective when you do drink it. Do you see what I mean? So cycling on and off a little can make it a little bit more effective. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about blue light. So what is blue light? What do I mean by limiting blue light? That is the blue wavelengths that come from your cell phone, your laptop, your Kindle, your TVs. And we have artificially lit up our evenings with blue light, which affects us in many, many ways. This light is affecting the natural production of melatonin in the body. So when we, back in the olden days, where we didn't have televisions and cell phones and laptops and things like that, artificially making our environment bright in the evening, when the sun went down, everybody just naturally kind of, hunkered down for the night and they went to bed early and they rose with the sun in the morning, and that follows that natural circadian rhythm. So now we have basically Vegas going on in our houses every night with televisions and cell phones, and we're on our Kindles and reading. So that's exactly what I call that, is the Vegas effect. It's all that blue light telling the brain, stay awake, it's party time. So if you're going to watch TV or be on your phone at night, you can get some blue light blockers. These just block the blue light coming from those devices. So I actually have a pair these are my kids. I have a pair for myself and my kids because we like to sometimes watch TV in the evening. So we wear our blue light blockers. I got mine from a company called Defender Shield, but there's many, many brands out there that work. So and sometimes because I do wear glasses, I literally just pop them right on top of mine. I'll look kind of silly, but I don't care. I'm going to keep that blue light away so I can sleep better. Do you have any, Fallon?
Oh, I think they're cool.
Yeah, they look like hunting glasses, right? So I just stick them on top of my glasses. There you go. See? Super cool.
And to me, if I see someone wearing them, it says you're probably going to sleep well tonight, which means you're not going to be a horrible driver tomorrow or moody or just overall not your best self and whatever that would look like. So yeah, I like the physical reminder that you have things like that can help you.
Yeah, I love my blue light glasses. So you can there's also a switch on your cell phones. That's a blue light filter on some of them. Some of them even have red light filters. So the red light is good because that blocks all the blue wavelengths. Another big tip is to turn off your Wi-Fi router in the home at night. So not a lot of people know this, but sleeping with all of these devices and cell phones and things like that around our head can elevate cortisol artificially in the evenings. Wi-Fi routers emit a lot of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. So I actually have mine on a timer, a little Christmas tree light timer. You're the ones that you can put the little pins in to say turn off at 11 and turn on at 5 a.m. So that's plugged into my Wi-Fi router, so it turns off at night. It's also really important to limit the electronics in your bedroom. So if you have a smart TV, if you have cell phones, get them out of the room. Have instead of a plug-in electric alarm clock, get one that's battery operated. And I also even have it's not a smoke detector. It might be it's carbon monoxide detector in my room, and it has this big, huge green light. So I put this little felt sticker over it because it was like shining down on me at night, and I would just see it out of the corner of my eye. And so I put a little sticker on it so that it doesn't disrupt me. So a dark bedroom. We're going to talk about sleep and creating a sleep environment in just a second, but turning off your Wi-Fi router, get your cell phone out of the room. Don't sleep with it in your room, or if you have to have it, put it on airplane mode so that it's not sending and receiving signals. So really important to have that downtime from your electronics, at least a minimum of 30 minutes, but preferably an hour before you go to bed. All right. So how do we create that awesome sleep environment? Dark room. Quiet room. If you don't like complete and total silence, the sound of like a fan or a white noise machine can help. Keep it clear from clutter and soothing colors, nice, warm grays and tans are great, sleepy colors. And then I always lower we have it programmed, but the air conditioner or the heater goes down 1 degree at night so that it's a little bit cooler. Cotton bedding, comfortable bedding that's comfortable for you. And then reducing the outside noise as much as possible. If you have a partner who snores, some earplugs. And soothing scents like lavender are really great for creating that little relaxation environment. And then bunchy clothing. Get rid of the bunchy pajamas and the long sleeves. The fewer clothes, the better. And to help you sleep better. Okay, and then one last note on your bedding and laundry is to also consider using fragrance-free laundry detergent and no dryer sheets or fabric softeners. This dryer sheets impart a waxy substance on your sheets and your clothing, and that clings to the oils in your skin, and it creates sort of this this wax on your towels and your sheets that can never ever really get clean. So these pernicious chemicals and fragrances last forever. They contain solvents that directly affect our nervous system and our endocrine system. So they contain endocrine disrupting chemicals. So no fragrance in your laundry detergent. Get the free, dye-free, fragrance-free, and no dryer sheets. I actually use wool dryer balls in my dryer. I love mine. So yeah. Next, pay attention to the timing of your meals. So your body contains this clock known as the circadian rhythm, and it's responsible for every biological process in your cells that impact your sleep, your hormone levels, even how you respond to medication. This clock is located in the hypothalamus, and it syncs with your environment through exposure to daylight. So there's also evidence that it syncs on depending when you eat as well. Research has found that insulin, that's the hormone that regulates our blood sugar when eating a meal, can act as a timing signal to the cells throughout the body. So this means that eating during times when your body thinks you should be asleep can severely impact your circadian rhythm and your health. So a classic example of that is people who worked overnight shifts, midnights, and things like that. They have to eat and sleep on opposite schedules. So that can be really, bad for their health. For those folks, it's recommended that you eat your last meal at least 3 hours before going to bed to give your body that time to adequately digest your food and send the proper signals to your body that it's time to wind down for the day if you're going to sleep during the day or the night. Next is eating well, so a nutrient-dense whole food diet. The best foods for sleep are also great for overall health as well. You want to stay away from the processed foods, sugar foods, artificial sugars. Eat a balanced diet that contains a lot of healthy fats. So olives, nuts, and seeds, avocados, fatty fish, lots of leafy greens, kale, bok choy, collards. Those are all really good for you. I love the bitter greens too, like arugula and dandelion. Make sure that you're eating quality grass-fed meats, wild fatty fish, fiber-rich fruits and vegetables, ancient gluten-free grains if you eat them. Those are all really important for restful, effective sleep as well. Then next, meditation and or breathing techniques. So these are really important because I think right now everybody is a little wound up, just a little anxious, maybe a little worried. And when you lay down at night, you can sometimes, a lot of my clients right now are having those racing thoughts and having trouble quieting their mind as they go to bed. And that's why this particular tool is very, very important. So don't discount meditation. And that doesn't mean that you need to, sit and om for 20 minutes. It can simply be a very short breathing exercise. One of my favorite ones is the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. Do you know that one, Fallon?
No,
No,
I haven't heard of it.
Okay, it's so simple. You just want to sit and ground yourself in a chair and sit back and relax. So it's called the 4-7-8 because you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. So it's a really deep.
That's hard. I need to do it clearly.
And then just. And what that does is it gets you into that parasympathetic rest and digest mode, because so many of us are so tied up in our sympathetic nervous system of go, 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 fight or flight, and we need to bring it down. And I love this tool because it works so quickly at getting you at being parasympathetic. But it also, the more you practice this breathing exercise, the stronger the relaxation response becomes. So really important to practice it every day when you get kind of stressed out, when you're going to bed at night, when you feel your jaw clench or your shoulders hunched over. Just sit back in your office chair and just do that 4-7-8 breathing exercise. Super easy. You can do it throughout the day, and it can help your body adapt to stress so much better. So meditation and breathing techniques, mindful meditation, Very important. This can really help at managing your anxiety, managing your cravings, controlling that anger response. So the next time somebody makes you mad, just say, excuse me, I have to do my 4-7-8 breathing exercise before I respond to that. Okay, next is setting up a consistent sleep schedule. So this is really important. When you're a kid or a baby, a toddler, even in elementary school, your parents always have a set bedtime. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for you to go to bed. And there's things that you do before that. You might, have, dinner early, and then it's a bath and maybe a book, and then, it's quiet time. Put your jammies on, cuddle with mommy, and then you go to bed. Grown-ups, we're like party, party, party. We're going, going, going. We're doing now. It's all the time to go to bed, and you can't sleep. Well, that's probably wise, because we don't have that wind down time that kids do. So really important to have that consistent sleep schedule, going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning. Consistency. So maybe make a little commitment to yourself to turn the screens off a little bit, maybe an hour earlier tonight, and see if you can sleep a little bit better. Create a little nice routine for yourself, a little cup of chamomile or lemon balm tea, and turn off all the blue light. All right. Next is quieting your brain with journaling or reading. So again, if we have all those racing thoughts, anxiety, things that I didn't get done today, things I have to do tomorrow, write them down. If you lay down in bed and immediately your mind starts racing, just turn the light back on, grab your journal, and just dump it, brain dump. Just get it out. That way, you put it on paper. It's there. Whatever is on your to-do list, you'll see it in the morning, and this can really help to quiet your mind a little bit. Okay. Next up, I want to talk about supplementing. So the first one that a lot of people usually go to for sleep is melatonin. Melatonin is actually naturally produced in the body by the pineal gland, and that regulates your circadian rhythm. It's what tells the body when to sleep and when to wake up. Melatonin has become very, very popular, but it can tell your body when it's time to go to sleep, but it doesn't actually make you fall asleep. And it's also a supplement that we shouldn't go on long term. It's something that we need to cycle on and off. But you can simply raise melatonin naturally in your home if you start dimming the lights and turning off your blue light devices and let that hormone rise naturally in the body. Still okay to take it. Just check with your health practitioner on the dosing that's right for you. I always advise my clients to start very, very slow, like a very small dose, 1 milligram, and then building if you need to. But I do like to cycle on and off because your body can get used to that dose, and you just start taking more and more. And I like to get to the root cause of why we can't sleep rather than relying on artificial hormones to help us with that. One of my favorite natural minerals to help me sleep is magnesium glycinate. So this is really popular to help regulate sleep. But like melatonin, it doesn't help you fall asleep. It just kind of relaxes your muscles, and it kind of eases you and calms anxiety, which can help you sleep better. So health practitioners usually recommend anywhere from 200 to 400 milligrams a night of magnesium glycinate, and it should be that form. It's a better absorbable form that helps with sleep versus some of the other forms of magnesium. Okay, and then again, quieting your brain with that journaling and reading. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about some herbs and some foods to help us sleep better. So GABA-rich foods. What is GABA? GABA is a neurotransmitter that helps to slow down your brain's neuron activity and decreases activity in the central nervous system. So in other words, it helps with that worrisome, ruminating thoughts, as well as balancing your mood and alleviating painful sensations and relaxing the body overall. So eating GABA-rich foods would be really great. They're in a lot of fruits and vegetables, like cruciferous vegetables and beans and peas, tomatoes and spinach and mushrooms, brown rice in particular as well. Also fermented non-dairy foods like kefir, non-dairy yogurt, tempeh, kimchi, and even oolong tea and white teas all naturally contain GABA. Another is an herb called lemon balm. And lemon balm is a member of the mint family. It's been used as a medicinal herb for over 2,000 years. That increases GABA activity in the brain as well as the activity of a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine that helps promote mental focus. And then next is L-theanine, which is found in green tea. That works mainly by way of the GABA receptors on nerve cells. And this is a really unique amino acid that can have a calming and relaxing effect while also preserving mental focus. And then I love vitamin B6, also important for hormone regulation, but also important for relaxing the brain and enhancing our mood. So you can eat tuna, spinach, cabbage, bok choy. Turkey, beef, and chicken are also really high in B6. I mentioned the magnesium glycinate, and food-wise, raw pumpkin seeds are really high in magnesium. So raw and salted pumpkin seeds are a great little snack. Just even something to sprinkle on your salads too would be good. And then I talked about the melatonin, and then herbal-wise, passion flower is an herb, a flower that helps relieve insomnia and anxiety in some studies. It also appears to boost the level of GABA in your brain. Passion flower is not recommended for pregnant women. It may induce contractions, so avoid that if you're pregnant. And chamomile, love just a little cup of chamomile tea. If you have serious insomnia, chamomile is not very strong, but if you just want something to relax you in the evening, a cup of chamomile is really great. And then our Put Me to Sleep supplement from Brain MD has a lot of those constituents in it, so that would be good to add. Okay, so if you're having some sleep problems, please reach out to our clinics or chat with me and set up a nutritional therapy appointment, and we can talk about your sleep habits. All right. What do you think, Fallon? You going to sleep better tonight?
That was so helpful. Yeah, I take the Put Me to Sleep. I love it. And I don't take it regularly. You just, when I can tell that I'm like anxious about something. And I really like it because it's a chewable that's really delicious. So it's just nice. I'm taking my supplements all day, like my pills. So it's just nice to be able to take one thing that's chewable.
Yeah, that's great. Good. Yeah. Well, I hope these tips will help you sleep better. It's really important to just set that consistent routine for yourself. And, I have a set bedtime every night. And when it gets close to that, then I start my little bedtime routine. And I noticed that my sleep is much, much better when I stick to that. Great.
Yeah. Well, we can definitely talk more about this too, because there's just so much that I feel like people don't understand about how important sleep is.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks.
Thank you so much.